The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is June 15th, 2020, episode 208. And this week, Rona, Ramen, 322 Quantum Time Travel. Really just smashed everything into that title there. But Rona, Ramen, 322 Quantum Time Travel. I don't know how else we could put it, Gonz. That just about sums it all up. By the way, my name's Basil.
I think we're done with the show based on the title. Sums it up. I do want to say a quick happy birthday to my pops.
Happy birthday, Pops.
I think he's 68. Going strong. So
it's getting up there.
Very healthy, very vibrant.
Yes.
But yeah, happy birthday, Dad.
He's ready to fight the looters.
Yes. All the looters in my town.
Have you ever seen your dad get into a fist fight before?
No, I haven't.
Me neither.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I had a buddy who was telling me a story about how he watched his dad get in a fist fight, and I was trying to think of just how strange that would be.
I'm sure there's, if you're a kid of a MMA fighter or something, then you've seen a lot.
Yeah, that would be exciting. Yeah. I don't know if I could handle that. But anyways, that's not what this show is about, Gonz. What was it? Last show was last Thursday, huh? So it's been a little bit longer since the last show than usual.
Yes.
More of the same, but we've got some very interesting things to dive into this episode. Anything exciting happen in the past 4 days that you just must tell everybody?
No, nothing exciting. We should just get on with it.
That makes it easy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and we do want to give a fair warning because it is Gonz's dad's birthday today. You're going to have to go to birthday dinner. So
yes.
I would say that this would be a short show, but really it's just going to be a regular, reasonably length show.
Yeah,
not one of these super extended shows that we've been doing recently.
I think we've just been over-delivering with the amount of time we've been. Like we'll sit on and get on the live stream, look at the clock, and it's almost 3 hours, and we're going,
it's crazy.
This show used to be a half hour. Can you believe that?
I know, 29 minutes.
29 minutes.
We used to very purposefully keep it at 29 minutes. It was a different time, Gonz.
A different time when half the country wasn't burning and everything else.
Before the pandemic and everything, it just took this big hullabaloo for us to start doing long shows. But so there you go. Today will be a little bit shorter than usual, but still enough to technically be a show.
Yes.
Speaking of show, Gonz, you want to start out with the Flippy update?
Are we going to do the little thing from the last episode, or are we going to just go ahead and go right into it?
What's the little thing from the last episode?
About the bulldozer.
I'm going to do this. Oh, yeah, let's do it after Flippy update.
Okay, fine.
Or do you want to do it now? No.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay,
changing things up on me, bro.
You know what? It's just so hard to start the show without the Flippy update. It really sets the tone.
Okay.
And today, now for those who don't know, if you're new to the show, Flippy is the name for the burger flipping robot that is quickly taking all of our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. But we also use Flippy as the sort of the proxy conversation for how robots are weaseling their way into our lives in ways that we might not be expecting to be too dangerous, but sort of extending out that conversation to help protect us from the evils of Skynet. Now, Gonz, this one's from Reuters.com. Robot to safely swab for coronavirus developed by scientists in Denmark.
I thought we were going to do this one during the corona section.
I decided I wanted to do it now. It's just the better one.
You throwing me off all over the place, man.
Keeping you on your toes, man. Somebody's got to keep you on your toes. The article
Okay.
reads, Danish researchers have developed a fully automated robot that can take coronavirus swabs so that healthcare professionals are not exposed to the risk of infection. Researchers from Southern University of Denmark and Lifeline Robotics hope their prototype swab robot can soon be deployed to relieve health professionals of the potentially risky task of testing patients. When a patient presents an ID card, the robot prepares a sampling kit, performs the swab, and puts the sample in a container ready for testing, explains Theisius Rajith Savarimuthu, professor of robotics at SDU. I got to say, I think I did a pretty good job with that name. In a video, Savarimuthi tested the robot on himself. He positioned his face with his chin in a plastic frame, opened his mouth wide, and allowed a robotic arm to stick a swab into the back of his throat and rotate it. The robot, powered by artificial intelligence, why? Uses cameras to find the right part of the throat and is programmed to swab it gently. The developers explained, quote, you get exactly the same procedure repeated again and again, which will give better quality of the samples, Savarimuthi said. Quote, there's going to be a global demand, a global need for more testing, more automated testing to protect and shield those who are in the front line, said Chief Executive of Lifeline Robotics, Soren Stig. So, you know, this coronavirus testing, as we all know, as the president so poetically sort of explained to us, jams this little swab basically through your nose almost into your brain. Very uncomfortable from the reports that I've heard. Very easy to mess up and hurt somebody. But now, luckily, Guns, we don't need any pesky doctors, you know, practicing medicine on us. Now we can just have the robots do it.
Yeah.
And here's where I thought that this was potentially, deserves to be in the Flippy update. A, it's a nice little robot arm sticking things in your nose. Two,
What's your mouth?
you know, does it go in your mouth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Been showing the video here. Yeah. The guy's got his mouth open and it goes in. Looks. I mean, you know, whatever, it's great, but also if you make the AI robot mad, it can just pierce your throat into your brain and into just the whole deal.
With my record with robots, I don't know if I want.
It just looks like a really bad idea, like a horror movie torture device is what it looks like.
I know. Even the camera feed that you get from it looks like a Saw movie.
Yeah.
Is terrifying.
It's all
but
up close in your nose.
It's literally Flippy, but instead of a spatula, it's a swab. They just repurposed the original Flippy.
Yeah.
But here's what I thought was interesting here. Roboticizing this process, I think they say it right there, you know, makes it more available. It's going to be more widespread. You're going to have these happening everywhere. And as we've discussed through Flippy, through Miso Robotics, who put a little terminal at the opening of the Cali Burger restaurant that would, you know, facially recognize you and take your temperature and register that you were there, that sort of thing, which is already sort of along the lines of, you know, being a little bit too invasive. You know, I don't know. I could see a world where there's just a little robot arm outside of every business, and you gotta let it stick something down your throat before you're allowed to go buy your cheeseburger, man.
Yeah, not good. Somebody in the chat was mentioning that the U.S. was hit by a major DDoS attack today, and I just pulled it up, and certainly we should probably hit that article, but we'll do it after the second Flippy update here that you have.
Eat real meat in the chat says Swabby. It's
Swabby. I like it.
Flippy's younger brother, Swabby.
Yeah.
You want to do this other original Flippy update or this other update?
Let's do the other Flippy update real quick.
Okay.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
The other Flippy update, Gons, you mentioned last show that you were missing the other Flippy update, the one that connects a robotic arm to one's body to give you a third appendage. And lucky for you, here at techexplore.com. Actually, this article was given to us through a user in Canary Cry community, a great place to connect with other Canary Cry people just like you. And I think it was Gary, if I remember correctly. Let me look. Nope, it was Stand Up for Christ. Who sent us this. So thank you, Stand Up for Christ, over in Canary Cry community. Here we go. Let me open it up. Oh, no. What have I done? Here we go. A supernumerary robotic arm adds functionality for carrying out common tasks. Ooh. A team of researchers at Université de Sherbrooke, with assistance from a group at Exonetique Incorporated, has created a wearable supernumerary robotic arm that adds functionality for common human tasks. In their paper published in IEEE Spectrum, the group describes their robotic arm, its abilities, and their plans for expanding its functionality. They got a little video there, Gons, and I'll just explain it real quick. It's a little robotic arm that attaches to your butt, and somebody else can control it. And so you get a third appendage that you and a friend can do some chores together by having your friend control your little butt arm. Pretty impressive piece of machinery, but I don't know. We need one of these guns for all the controlling, the manual controlling that we have to do to do this broadcast. This would help. You set up an extra little mouse over there, then I can just control your third arm and help produce the show from your side.
The butt bot, as somebody in the chat said. And it's so
Flippy,
funny.
Swabby, Buddy.
Buddy. It reminded me of a old South Park episode that may not be appropriate to play the whole thing, but I'll play a piece of it because it just reminded me, speaking of other people controlling the arm, in this particular episode, this is a very early episode of the show South Park. The aliens control a probe.
My mom doesn't let me watch South Park.
Okay, you're one of those kids.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to censor it, but here's the scene where Cartman realizes that he has a alien probe attached to part of his body.
Yeah, this is early, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. It's completely amateur. You guys can't scare me. I know you're making it all up. Cartman, there's an 80-foot satellite dish sticking out of your...
There we go.
Whoa.
That was close. That was close.
Good catch, Gons. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, it looks like they took the idea right from South Park. Wow.
There you go.
Simpsons predicts the future consistently.
Yes.
I wonder if anybody's keeping an eye on South Park.
That'd be really terrifying.
Obviously called this one robot arms coming out of your booty.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that would be pretty terrifying if they had all the predictions correct, because they're stopped watching after a few years, but they're pretty bad stuff on that show. But anyway, yeah, so great. Robot arm that comes out of your butt.
There you go.
Perfect.
Flippy. A lot of Flippy updates today. It's doing the shows 3 times a week. We kind of got ahead of Flippy news, and suddenly there's all this very important Flippy news that is important to all of our daily lives.
It'd be a good workout. You can tell on the video that the person that's got the arm strapped on them, they have to use a little bit of balance to try to control, because the arm just keeps moving around.
Yeah, it's like a core workout.
Yeah, it's a good core workout. I'm sure, yeah, okay. Anyway, for all you workout people out there trying to figure out how to work out.
Blast your core.
Blast your core with the robot.
Okay, we have another quick update. Do you want to do this one?
Sure. So we got an email. Our last episode was titled Chaz America Getting Crazy, and one of the stories, the reason why our what is it? The thumbnail for the show was a tractor or a big bulldozer, was because of the story about the Bible prophecy or Trump. What was it? I can't remember the name of the thing now. I'm trying to look for the article.
The bulldozer Trump prophecy.
Yeah. And we were. I think you had mentioned like, hey, what's the Bible verse based on this whole thing.
Chapter and verse. I had just never heard the Trump bulldozer prophecy, so he wanted to know.
Trump bulldozer
I sort
Bible
of facetiously asked for chapter and verse, but this is great, man. We got producers all over the show, all over the world. You guys aren't just listeners, you're producers, and a good, God bless you, producer who actually put the legwork in on finding the Trump bulldozer prophecy for us.
Yeah, and apparently it has to do with an old prophecy from 2012, or what's being labeled a prophecy. And this article here, God called Trump a bulldozer. Why? And we'll just play the clip here. Basically, a woman wrote a letter to this show that was on a few years ago in 2012, saying that that she had a dream or a vision. Was it a dream or a vision? Either way,
a dream of a bulldozer blasting through the White House.
Right, but it was in context to, hey, Washington was being taken over, the New World Order, Antichrist, one world government. It was here, but then he saw a bulldozer, or she, I think, saw a bulldozer, and this was the alleged prophet who was interpreting this dream here.
Wow. Well, that dream, that particular dream is obviously a dream about the last days, so it tends to be more on the vision side of things, even though there's symbolism in it. The great thing is this, the bulldozer. Now, you may not think the bulldozer is a great thing. The great thing is the bulldozer, because you're seeing man's plans, and you're seeing God saying, but I have a plan that will bulldoze right through the plans of men.
There you go. So that's, I think, where the Trump bulldozer Bible prophecy comes from. It's a good find to our producer. What was his name? I can't remember his name. Was it Chris?
I think I opened up the email, and of course I closed the email. We should find it though. Let's give him a quick shout out here. First names only. Am I on the right email address? No, I'm not.
It's Christopher. Yeah, Christopher. Thank you, Christopher, for
thank you very much, Christopher,
digging
for
that up.
That.
And he also dug up a few clips of Jonathan Bell, who's one of our favorite guy here.
And melt those babies into candles.
This is Jonathan Bell.
You found him. We tracked him down.
We tracked him down, yeah. So there you go.
Yes, there's a story last week about a man who was driving a bulldozer into town. He called the police, I believe, to just warn them that he was coming. And said, I am the Trump bulldozer prophecy, and went on a allegedly high-speed bulldozer chase with the cops, claiming that he was the prophecy.
He
there you go.
Took it a little too literal. See what happens when you're too literal with the translations?
I know. There's a lesson to be learned somewhere in there.
Yeah.
All right, Gons, we have one more update before we get into the news stuff.
Yes, and this is a meme.
This wasn't the update I was talking about, but yes, we can hit that one too.
We're just totally off rhythm today.
It's okay. We're having fun.
Well, this went viral over the weekend. It's a guy who looks, the way he's dressed is fantastic. He's got the white t-shirt, kind of got a light stash going. It looks like your quintessential guy in a basement type of deal. And he's the great part about this clip. You have to see it if you're just listening. You have to watch the clip to really get the full view of what's going on. But he's eating a raw ramen. Just you can hear the crunching.
Maruchan ramen.
Yeah, Maruchan ramen.
It's good.
You can see him dusting the MSG on there, which is my favorite part of the video.
Delicious.
But he's making a fantastic point. Based on a CNN clip of Cuomo, and then pulling up some First Amendment stuff here. So I'm going to play the 15-second TikTok video, and you guys can watch it. For those of you watching, for those of you listening, go find the video to get the full effect.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful. And please.
There's the First Amendment. You just gotta look it up. Mr. Cuomo.
Come on, Mr. Cuomo.
Come on, Cuomo.
Now, Gons, did you ever eat raw ramen as a kid?
No.
Oh,
that is blasphemy to my people.
Part of my life was just eating raw ramen.
No. Oh no.
Gotta love that ASMR.
He's doing it.
It inspired me when I saw
my
this guy.
gosh, that is wrong. That. Oh,
Okay, sorry.
Basil.
We're gonna get some emails about that one. I apologize, everybody.
They're gonna call you racist. Here's what I have to say to you.
Look it up.
Okay. Oh no, now I got a bunch of dry noodles in my mouth. All right, do you have the update jingle? We got one more update.
Yeah, hold on.
We interrupt this broadcast to give you a brief update. By the end of this timely interruption, you will be thoroughly updated.
Okay, here we go. An update, very important update, Gons, because this comes from the very first year that we started doing the show, 2012. And here we go. NewYorkPost.com article titled "Alternate Reading of Mayan Calendar." Remember the Mayan calendar?
Barely.
Alternate reading of Mayan calendar suggests end of the world is next week.
Oh no,
Whoa,
that's this week.
Wrong. I know. If you thought COVID-19, civil unrest, locusts, volcanic eruptions, and hurricanes signaled Armageddon, you may be right. Oh, look at that. The reading of the Mayan calendar was wrong, according to a conspiracy theory on Twitter. And how is the Mayan calendar a conspiracy theory? Let's break that down. A conspiracy meaning that a group of people conspiring to carry out a plan, and theory meaning a collection of ideas yet to be proven. I'm not sure the Mayan calendar is a conspiracy theory, but anyways, let's keep going. The reading of the Mayan calendar was wrong, according to a conspiracy theory on Twitter. And while the world didn't end on December 21st, 2012, as originally prophesied by calendar readers, Mayan doomsday is sometime this week or next. Sometime. Following the Julian calendar, we are technically in 2012. The number of days lost in a year due to the shift into Gregorian calendar is 11 days. For 268 years using the Gregorian calendar, times 11 days, 2,948 days. 2,948 days divided by 365 days per year is 8 years. Scientist Paulo Tagaloglan tweeted last week, according to The Sun. The stories of tweets has since been deleted. Oh. If Tagaloglan is correct, adding up all the missed days, then the Mayan doomsday is this week. In 2012, doomsday theorists were convinced the world was ending on December 21st, and hordes of believers flocked to Mayan sites in Mexico and Guatemala, only to be left disappointed and dirty due to the lack of sanitation at ancient Mayan pyramids. So there you go, Gons. We're on the second round here. It's the second wave of the Mayan calendar predictions coming through.
You know what we never followed up on? Because we did a show based on the whole 2012 December 21st thing that everyone was talking about at the time. And there was a guy, we reviewed all the different claims, especially a lot of the New Agers. And there's a lot of ascension talk that, the shift from the galactic wave is going to hit us all and we're all going to evolve into higher species in that very moment and all this kind of stuff. And there was one guy who said that he was out in, I think it was the deserts of Arizona, and he said that there's a portal that's going to open off like some kind of plateau thing that he was standing on, and that right at that time he's going to jump off of the plateau and go into the portal. And we were like, "Don't do it, bro! Don't do it!"
Whoa, that was so early on. That's
super
crazy.
early. Yeah, that was a long time ago where we talked about that. But it was 2012 when we started the show. But yeah, hopefully that guy's still around and he came to his senses, or at least didn't see the portal open and decided not to jump. Or
yeah, I hope that's okay. If
or
the
whatever.
Guy, if you're alive out there, contact us. We're worried about you.
Yeah, I'm hoping he doesn't see this article and finally the portal shall open. Maybe this time,
He was only 8 years off.
Yeah. All right. You know what? Let's do this story real quick because somebody mentioned it and I think it's worth bringing up.
Okay.
Illuminatus!
This is actually, I'm going to move this in here. This is heavy.com, your greatest trusted source. Anonymous tweets U.S. hit by major DDoS attack on June 15th. That's today. Following a massive cell phone service outage that affected hundreds of thousands, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint customers on Monday, that hacktivist group Anonymous tweeted that it was a result of a major DDoS attack, or DDoS, however you want to say it. DDoS, which is short for Distributed Denial of Service Attack, is an attempt to make an online service unavailable by overwhelming it with traffic from multiple sources. They target a wide variety of important resources, from banks to news websites, flooding it with too much information to operate, and forcing a major challenge to customers or people wanting to publish or access important information. Anonymous tweeted out a digital map that appeared to show the various types of attacks happening between America and the rest of the world on Monday. And there's a little tweet here. It's got all the lines coming from all over the world, all hitting the United States all at once. Anonymous tweeted, quote, "The source of the DDoS attack on the U.S. is currently unknown. We speculate it may be China, as the situation between South and North Korea is currently deteriorating." Oh, I thought it was Anonymous that was doing it. This is misleading.
No, they just called it out.
Malware Tech, however, refuted Anonymous's claim. They tweeted, "This site shows a random sample of global DDoS traffic badly plotted on a world map. It does not indicate an attack against the U.S. It lacks context to make any interference at all, other than DDoS attacks are happening all day, every day." That's the immediate thought that I had when I saw somebody mention it in the chat. That, hey, DDoS attacks on the U.S. and like just websites in general, that happens all day, every single day to like every single website ever. So,
well, yeah, and that was part of the problem with the whole Russia hacking investigation was, they were so worried that they were claiming that there was a Russian probe, Russian hackers hacking into the DNC. But I mean, there's probably some Russian hacker pinging every one of us every single day. I mean, pretty much every computer will get pinged by some sort of hacker every day. It doesn't mean that they get hacked. It just means someone's, checking in, seeing if you're
shooting the darts.
Open.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how much more we should read of this quote. "Without knowing the exact destinations other than they're within the U.S., no conclusions can be made," Malware Tech tweeted. "The U.S. is the world leader in hosting. This could be a bunch of unrelated DDoS attacks against random U.S.-hosted websites. Maps like this are nothing but marketing eye candy." It wasn't just the major mobile networks that reported outages on Monday. Down detectors showed customers reporting with Twitch, Comcast, Facebook, and Instagram. T-Mobile was hit the hardest with outages issued based on customer reports. A lot of it on the eastern side of the United States, according to this heat map that I'm looking at here from a tweet. Of course, map. That's not necessarily a reliable source here. Down Detector received reports from over, I think that's 1 million customers. They must. I think it was a typo because it's 1000,000. So it's either 100,000 customers or 1 million. Yeah. Either way, complaining of not being able to make phone calls, and frustrated T-Mobile phone users shared their issues on Twitter. Well, at least they can still get on Twitter.
Yeah,
right.
That worked.
Yeah. The issues appeared to start around 2:45 p.m. Eastern Time, mainly affecting customers in southeastern states before spreading to other areas of the country. Customer complaints caused T-Mobile to become the #1 trending term on Twitter. Okay, so people mad, service down. Here you go. There you go. I don't think there's much to it other than the headline saying "Anonymous tweets U.S. hit by major DDoS attack." I don't know. Just feels like Anonymous trying to.
Yeah, but also, well, and who knows? Of course, an anonymous Twitter account could be anybody.
Right.
That just makes a Twitter account and calls it anonymous. So who knows? Also, a major DDoS attack on the United States doesn't make any sense necessarily. I mean, I guess unless it's focused on United States companies, but then it's, I would say the target is those particular companies. This is just not really how that works. You don't DDoS a country. But I don't know. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I could be wrong.
Sure.
But okay, sounds good. You want to hear about some race wars?
The race wars.
Race wars. Race war.
I've warned you and warned you and warned you.
Been warned. We've been warned.
So, of course, protests and looting and rioting and damage has continued over the weekend. Here we are on finance.yahoo.com Wendy's restaurant set on fire in Atlanta after African-American man killed by police at drive-thru. Yikes, man, through the drive-thru. Come on. But let's look into it. The Wendy Co. restaurant in Atlanta, Georgia, which became the site of the killing of Rashard Brooks on Friday, was set on fire Saturday. What happened? Authorities in Atlanta have announced a $10,000 reward for information on the suspect who had started the fire. On Friday, the Wendy's restaurant became the site of a struggle between Brooks, 27, and two police officers who were sent to the restaurant after a call, complaining about a vehicle blocking the drive-thru. The car appeared to belong to Rashard Brooks, who fell asleep at the wheel of his car. When the police tried to arrest him, Brooks grabbed a taser from one of the officers and ran. The police chased and then killed him, reported the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, a local newspaper. The death of Brooks, Afro-American man. Is that a new term? Afro? Is it supposed to mean the same thing as African-American man?
I don't know.
I gotta learn.
Yeah,
I gotta learn what that means. Afro-American man.
Maybe.
At the hands of white police officers comes as Atlanta saw the third consecutive weekend of protests over George Floyd, an African-American man killed by white policemen on Memorial Day. Why it matters. A spokesperson for Atlanta Fire said that the conflagration could not be contained as it was not safe to get to the area when it first began, reported the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Garrett Rolfe, the officer who fatally shot Brooks, has been terminated, while the second officer involved in the incident, Devin Bronson, has been put on administrative duty. Protesters took over Atlanta's busy downtown connector, forcing the shutdown of the roadway on Friday night. Georgia NAACP, a civil rights organization, demanded the termination of Atlanta Police Chief Erica Shields, who resigned on Saturday but will continue to remain employed by the city in an undetermined role. Rodney Bryant will act as the interim chief until a new appointment is made. Wendy's price action. And then, of course, because it's finance.yahoo, they got to give a little stock tip
update,
here.
yeah.
Wendy's shares traded 0.18% lower at $21.70 after an after-hours session on Friday. The shares had closed the regular session 2 points higher at 21.74. So there you go. But yeah, I don't know. This is a weird one. This is the kind of thing we're going to be kind of running into more often now. And we're just going to be going from this article and assume that the reporting is correct. And if the reporting is correct, sounds like this guy, fell asleep for some reason in the drive-thru, and when confronted by cops, he took one of their tasers and ran, which, you just can't do that. You just can't take a weapon from a cop and run.
Did you see some of the footage of this incident on your social media?
I did not see it.
I watched some of it and a couple different angles and stuff. And yeah, I mean, you don't always have to shoot the guy, but for sure he deserved some kind of aggressive action from the police. It's one thing to be pulled over for being drunk and driving, but it's another thing to avoid or resist arrest for one, but then also take the cop's taser and just just
and
asking for
in
it.
The chat. I have not seen the video. I don't know exactly what it looked at. I'm seeing people in the chat saying he actually aimed the taser at a cop.
Yeah, it was
you just
bad.
Can't do it,
You
man.
can't do it.
You
dude.
just can't do it.
Even if you're an Afro-American. Which people in the chat are saying Afro is a hairstyle, not a skin color. But.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm not. I'm not the authority on what that means. But Yahoo seems to think it's the correct way to refer to this man.
The one thing that I noticed.
Afro, who knows?
Well, I think he kind of. I don't know. But anyway, the one thing that I noticed was, especially on the Twitters, people saying like, "Oh, they could rebuild the Wendy's, but a life is lost." And certainly that's a point because people are saying, "Oh, another Wendy's burning down" or whatever. The one thing that I thought was interesting, I hadn't really seen anybody mention it, but so here's some video footage for those of you watching of the Wendy's burning, and I don't know if you know this, or notice it, but it's in between the camera guy, the person holding the phone, and the Wendy's that's burning is a gas station. So, okay, have you seen Zoolander, Basil? Do you remember when that gas station blows up in Zoolander and all his buddies die? Yeah. I just don't think
before you go.
If you're making a point about, racial injustice or social injustice or whatever it is, and you're trying to make a point and you're trying to, you burn down a Wendy's, all right, fine, not even fine, but okay, I understand, I guess, the anger or whatever. Another black man shot by a cop, but don't do it in front of a gas station where it can blow up and kill like hundreds of, I don't know. To me, it's just
situational awareness.
Yeah, situational awareness. Don't burn down the one that's
Look
next to the gas station.
Yes, for other threats when you're lighting your favorite restaurant on fire. What did the Wendy's do to deserve this? Well, I guess they called the cops. I guess somebody could say that.
Well, yeah.
That's what you get.
Plus the, the whole, you can get into the whole GMO conversation, which is always kind of weird. The part of this isn't the interesting part of I don't know. You see all these different angles from people. What I've noticed is that, we're burning it down, but also because, hey, they deserve to be burnt down. They kept the poor people sick with their GMO foods and that kind of thing. So I've seen a lot of different sentiments on this. And so I don't know. I just think it's dumb to burn it down when it's next to a gas station. Like, you're not thinking. Okay. And I think they actually they caught video of a girl doing it, or at least a girl that was part of trying to light the Wendy's on fire. So it was a white girl too. So
of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Getting people all riled up based on
was
race.
She a Wendy's plant? Was her name Wendy?
that would make it extra interesting. That would make it very
thought plickens.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. What else you got?
Let's see. We have a Chaz update.
Get in the zone. Capitol Hill Auto Zone. Chaz stinks.
This is.
I'm gonna be sad when Chaz disappears and we don't get to use that jingle anymore.
Oh, we can always reference back to it. This is noqreport.com. Clearly a very biased article. OAN's Jack Posobiec spends 3 days in the Chaz. I like how I think
it's pronounced Posebiec.
Posebiec?
I think.
Okay. He spends 3 days in the Chaz, exposes ongoing lies. The warlord of Seattle's Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, Chaz, also known as the Capitol Hill Occupied Protest, CHOP. Have you heard this, CHOP?
No, I have not heard CHOP.
I haven't heard either. Chop it up. Knew he had someone filming his exploits Sunday night and early Monday morning. Raz Simone, the Seattle rapper whose gun-toting group of security officers combed the streets of the Chaz at night, kept seeing videos popping up on his phone of his team's activities. There was a field source that had infiltrated the Chaz who was sharing unflattering videos of the happenings in the anarcho-communist 6-block section of Seattle to One America News reporter Jack Posobiec. But the warlord couldn't identify who it was. As it turns out.
Wow, they just keep calling him warlord.
At least they parenthesized it the first time.
Yeah, it was an interesting point when it was made the first time. There's a power vacuum due to no police, and then of course whoever's got the guns fills the power vacuum, and that's where the warlord moniker came out. And now it's sticking apparently.
Right. As it turned out, it was Posebiec. I'm going to pronounce his name different every time. Himself. He and a fellow undercover journalist had been living in the Chaz since Friday, documenting everything mainstream media refuses to report. According to mainstream media, there are no armed security people patrolling the streets or shaking down anyone they believe gets out of line. Posobiec.
No, it's Posebiec.
Okay, Posobiec revealed there actually are such security measures that include armed Antifa members to go along with Simone's crew. According to mainstream media, the Chaz is more like a version of Coachella with live music and street art, a truly festive atmosphere. As Posebiec reported, this is mostly true during the day when mainstream media cameras are rolling. At night, it's completely different story. At night, it's completely different story. But at night, the narrative is difficult to capture because anyone with the camera out is instantly mobbed by people asking questions and attempting to block off filming. Like Democrats and mainstream media, many living in the Chaz do not want the truth getting out.
So I'm assuming this is a far right,
super right wing. Yeah. OAN. Horrible situations were revealed throughout the journalist's final night in Seattle. A break-in and attempted arson of a local business owner. An accused thief attacked and searched before being further assaulted. Rampant drug use. Unspeakable sanitation issues. Quote-unquote medics who shield assaults rather than treat the assaulted. These are just some of the things revealed by Posebik in his flurry of videos posted to Twitter and live streamed from Periscope. And there's some tweets showing some of his reporting there, and some people getting Raz chasing people down. And what else is there? Raz ordered the accused thief bag search. It's pretty intense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting to see the back and forth about what's actually happening in the Chaz. And of course, you'd actually have to go there. Marry me Basil in the chat, asked if I would be doing some boots on the ground in the Chaz. If I was closer, I probably would. I'd be down going checking it out. It sounds like it actually might be a little dangerous pulling out cameras and stuff there, so might have to be a little sneaky with my recording equipment. But I would consider going there. Seattle's just a little bit too far to make it an easy journey. But if somebody wants to buy the plane ticket, I might go check it out. I got some people I could stay with up there. But, it's been really hard to fully suss out what's going on in the Chaz, which is actually part of the reason why I would be interested in going myself, because, I had some people send me some, boots on the ground. They weren't going there for me, but they went there to go check it out on their own and took some pictures. And they did kind of a satirical write-up about it, because they took a bunch of pictures, and then this person was making the case that it's not as dangerous or wild in there as the mainstream would have us think, or certain other right-leaning things. The big thing is that the mainstream wants it to sound dangerous because they want to keep the status quo. That's the biggest thing here. It's not a right versus left. It's a power struggle between the current status quo power system and all these alternatives popping up. But the long story short was, in this particular set of photos that was sent to me, it'd be like a picture of a child on a scooter with his mom or something, and what's the word? Not the comment, but the caption would be like, "Look at this far left Antifa militant training his alternative transportation to take down the man and destroy capitalism." And then it'd be like a picture of a nice, painting of a flower somebody did. "Look at these anarchic symbols of hatred." Anyways, they're making fun of the sort of inflammatory language getting pushed around about what may or may not be going on in the Chaz. And the reality of it is that it's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
It's probably, just normal, people walking around looking at the graffiti and hanging out, not doing anything interesting. And then, of course, there probably are the reports of, the warlord gangs trying to keep the peace in their own special way. So
well, it's like anything. One side of the barricaded off Chaz location, whatever, can be very peaceful. On one side of town, and the other side, there could be some stuff going on where it's a little more violent and whatever. So yeah, it's probably a little bit of both. Obviously, that's the thing with cameras. It's just one perspective.
It's whatever you get. You get what you get when it comes to the cell phone cameras.
Apparently, Posebik and his partner, they're going to be putting together a documentary to expose all the things mainstream media and Democratic politicians refuse to tell us about the Chaz. And so there you go. Obviously, very right-leaning on this perspective, but there's something to be said about documenting things going on at night, because there is obviously it's probably a little more dangerous at nighttime if you're trying to walk around and film it.
Anywhere else in the United States,
anywhere else in the world. Yeah,
we have some people chanting for us to talk about Raz Simone. We've talked about Raz Simone in previous episodes. That's the guy, the rapper, who's sort of taking taking policing into his own hands now that the police are not available inside the Chaz zone. He's a rapper, and him and his buddies have guns, so they're the police now.
Isn't his dog's name like Taz or something?
I don't know.
Raz, Taz, and Chaz. And he's writing his own song. Anyway.
I don't know. Maybe send us something. We had a lot of great stuff sent to us on the email over the weekend, and of course we've covered some of it here. So if you have additional stuff to send us about Raz, send it to canarycryradio@gmail.com. And let me give some advice, because we get a lot of people sending us a lot of stuff. Let me give you some advice. If you're going to send us an email, don't just send an email with the subject line, "Watch this video," and just have it be a link to a video. We don't have time for that. What you got to do is what Christopher did. You watch the video, you do a write-up for us, you tell us what you found. Do some of the work, because if we had to sit and watch every video that somebody just sent us with no comment, we would never have time to do the show. So just some advice. I appreciate everybody sending stuff, but don't just send us a link to a video. We can't do anything with that.
And we'll get to some of the jingles.
But we won't. There's just too much of it. Too many of them.
Yeah, we'll get to some of the jingles you guys sent in, which we got a lot of them over the weekend. And plus last week. But this one is a Biden jingle that we got from B-Dubs, and I love it.
Hit it.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
I like that.
You did the whole, I love that one. Okay, so hairy legs, which is
dailymail.co.uk.
Yes,
one of the world's favorite news outlets here. Exclusive. This is a Daily Mail exclusive. Joe Biden's brother wriggles out of $1 million he owes to car crash victims' family by having just $29 in his bank account, despite life of luxury as a law firm's frontman. That's one thing I love about the Daily Mail. Their headlines are like a paragraph.
It's a paragraph. It tells you the whole deal. They know people don't read articles.
No,
you know what's up.
Just get that big long headline, you get it all. So here we go. We're talking about hairy legs Biden, and the article reads: Joe Biden's brother wriggled out of paying some of the $1 million in compensation he owes the family of a young father killed in a horrific car crash more than 20 years ago, after creditors found just $29.16 in his bank account. DailyMail.com can reveal. Frank Biden has earned hundreds of thousands of dollars from a series of executive positions he's held at firms that appear to trade heavily on his family name, and is currently the pitchman for a large Florida law firm. He also lives with partner Mindy in a smart $600,000 four-bed, four-bath house in a gated community overlooking a golf course in upmarket Atlantis, Florida, and the couple drive contrasting $40,000 black and white Range Rovers. But when attorney John F. Hader, representing the family of single dad Michael Albano, who died tragically in 1999, leaving two orphaned daughters behind, garnished Biden's Wells Fargo bank account in February, he found it almost empty. Sorry, gotta get into the cold read here. In February, Hader also placed a lien on Biden's white 2014 supercharged Range Rover. Biden, 66, hasn't paid a cent of the cash he owes the Albano family, despite him having defaulted on a lawsuit filed against him for the death. However, there's light at the end of the tunnel for the Albanos, as DailyMail.com can reveal that the businessman has finally made contact with the family's lawyer. It's the first time scofflaw Biden has made any contact with the Albanos, albeit through an attorney, having actively ignored repeated court orders and written requests to pay up over the past 20 years. A detailed DailyMail.com expose on February 6th revealing the full details of Biden's shocking secret did nothing to stir him. And lawyers for the Albano family served legal papers to 16 business associations of Biden at various companies he's linked to after registering the California case in Florida on November 19th last year. But not a single associate of his responded to the court's order, not even the Berman Law Group, which continues to feature Biden as a senior advisor to the firm on its website. Sources close to the case, however, say an attorney for Biden has finally reached out on his behalf after the businessman was served with the first interrogatories in aid of execution documents on April 15th. Then they've got some legal documents here. The court docs were the first step in compelling Biden to subject to a debtor's examination, which would drag him before the court to testify as to his full income and assets. Instead, it's understood Biden, who has seemingly been backed into a corner, now appears willing to discuss the repayment of the $1 million he owes. When DailyMail.com approached Frank about the case, he would only say, quote, "We're heading towards settlement. It's that simple." He refused to comment any further, directing any inquiries to brother Joe Biden's campaign. Weird. Why would he's directing other inquiries to his brother's campaign? That is strange. Okay.
Very weird.
Biden, the younger brother of presidential hopeful Joe, was found partially legally responsible for the death of Michael Albano on August 1999, but has never acknowledged his liability or paid any compensation, not even turning up for a single court hearing, meaning the case was a default judgment. Albano died when he was crossing the road on Highway 101 in Cardiff by the sea, beside Encinitas, California, when a high-powered Jaguar XK8 convertible rented by Biden hit him at as much as 80 miles per hour. The speed limit was 35 miles an hour. Biden, then 43, was riding shotgun when he shifted the 290 horsepower car into manual and told the driver, Jason Turton, 25, to punch it just before hitting Albano. Biden was allegedly heard saying, "Keep driving," and Turton fled the scene, telling police someone advised him to, while another passenger in the car said everyone was drinking. Biden fled California, leaving a trail of unpaid bills, and never even turned up in court when Albano's family sued him, according to the court documents. The orphaned daughters of Albano, Lorena and Nicole, pleaded more than a decade ago with the Democratic presidential frontrunner Joe Biden, then a senator, for help recovering the money from his brother, to no avail. He told them he had deep sympathy, but his brother was penniless. These days, Frank describes himself as a senior advisor to his brother's political action committee, and the businessman appears to have a finger in lots of different pies. Biden lives with partner Mindy Ward, 47, a former Hooters waitress who works at CHG Healthcare in Boca Raton. Ward was seen in January driving Biden's white Range Rover, which displayed a Biden President 2020 sticker on the rear window before being later removed. At the time, Biden was seen driving a black $40,000 2-liter Range Rover Evoque, which is registered in Ward's name. According to court papers in February, the Florida Department of Motor Vehicles was directed by the court to issue a new title for the high-end white Range Rover showing a lien, which means the vehicle can't be sold. For our story in February, Albano's family told Daily Mail that Biden must face justice after never offering so much as an apology during the last 20 years. Frank needs to pay for what he's done, the dead man's daughter Lorena told DailyMail.com. She was 17 when she lost her father, while her sister Nicole was 16. It's been 20 years, but we aren't holding our breath. It's been draining emotionally and physically. We've never received a dime from Frank, let alone an apology. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't miss my father and think of what could have been. There you go. Holy smokes. What a horrible story, Gonzo.
Yeah, it just goes to show the, I guess, the class. You know, this is kind of a class thing going on. It's not so much a race thing, although people can pin it on race if they want to. I don't think that's really necessarily accurate.
I don't think anybody was mentioning that. There's no mention, I guess.
Well, not in the article, but I'm saying just in particular, just people that would look at this might think that. But also, because it's all tied to the Democratic Party, they're not going to really make it a big deal, I don't think. But I think it's a class thing. People that there's certain people that are protected in this world, and we just know about it. I mean, unless something's planned to arrest Hillary in the next
Well,
few
you're
months or
certainly
something.
protected if you're Joe Biden's brother. You can kill a man while messing around, drunk driving,
Yeah.
and get away for 20 years. You know, it's really strange. I mean, the worst part about this is just the blatant, not showing up to court, not caring, not getting in contact, not apologizing, not making a single, attempt to pay any of the money. Not that it would be an admission of guilt. Your admission of guilt was not showing up to court for 20 years. That's like,
yeah. I mean, normally that's pretty bad in itself. Isn't there a warrant out for your arrest if you just miss a whole bunch of court dates?
Oh yeah, no. Well, he fled the state.
Yeah.
It's crazy. This is, what's interesting about this though, to look at it in a deeper, wider scope of things here. This was almost assuredly dug up by some opposition research by Trump, or somebody had been holding on to this information, just waiting for the right moment, to spring it on someone. I mean, this happened 20 years ago, and this is the first I'm hearing about it. So, someone's been holding on to this just for the right moment when maybe Joe Biden would be running for president.
Part of the interesting thing too is going into and looking at and garnishing Biden's Wells Fargo bank account. These people have. They have more than one bank account.
I know. Well, that's the silly
they
thing.
Have not just more in the United States. They probably have overseas accounts and stuff like that. So I don't know. Whoever the attorneys were for the family might be. I don't know what they're doing. They might be part of the whole setup there. Where like, oh, I don't know. We looked at his account. He's only got $30 in there. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, well, it mentioned that they're going to be getting him involved in a debtor's investigation or something. I forget what the exact wording was.
Yeah, there's a settlement in play or whatever. But yeah,
so he's certainly not. No, they were talking about let me look for it. It's where he would have to go to court and prove all of his finances.
Oh,
where if he doesn't reveal alternative bank accounts during that court thing, now it's, I believe, a felony. In which case he'd be in much bigger trouble than just paying $1 million. Now, the interesting thing is here that this article says specifically that they reached out to actual Joe Biden to try to get help. Paying for this $1 million, which I don't think is enough. I don't think that seems like a pretty low number. If you're, a high-end businessman who drunk drives into a car and kills somebody, I don't think $1 million's enough. No. But that's what they landed on. It seems Joe Biden should be able to help his brother out with $1 million. That doesn't seem like it should be a problem.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
He's got to pay for all those razors, man.
That's right. All right, you want to move on?
Let's do the next story here. What is the jingle?
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
This is Wired.com. A bill in Congress would limit uses of facial recognition. And I found this article kind of interesting. It was some good things, some bad things. This week, IBM and Microsoft all said they would halt sales of facial recognition to U.S. police and called on Congress to impose rules on use of the technology. Hey, it sounds kind of like a good deal. A police reform bill introduced in the House of Representatives Monday by prominent Democrats in response to weeks of protest over racist policing practices would do just that. But some privacy advocates say its restrictions aren't tight enough and could legitimize the way police use facial recognition today. We're concerned, says Nima Giuliani? Is it Giuliani?
Yes, Giuliani.
Senior legislative counsel for the ACLU in Washington, D.C., citing evidence that many facial recognition algorithms are less accurate on darker skin tones. Which, do you remember that story? We reported on that particular story I think over a year ago. About how facial recognition had problems reporting or just accuracy problems with darker skinned people.
Well, it's been a classic thing even through the history of cinema. Original Kodak film, was tuned for white faces. Black faces didn't show up very well on cameras for all of history.
She urges a federal ban on facial recognition, quote, unless and until it can be used in a way that respects civil liberties. Giuliani says it's not clear that is possible. Last year, several cities, including San Francisco, banned use of the technology by government agencies. The proposed Justice in Policing Act would, among other things, tighten the definition of police misconduct and ban chokeholds like the one that killed George Floyd in Minneapolis last month. Which, by the way, Joe Biden, hairy legs over there, tweeted out, "We need to ban chokeholds," which I thought was pretty good tweet.
I also liked his. You know how we don't have as many police deaths, police shootings. We train the police to shoot them in the legs. Good idea, Joe Biden. You're really tuned in to the issues at hand.
It is sponsored by Senators Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, and Representatives Karen Bass and Jared Nadler, all Democrats. A 5-page summary of the bill's main provisions doesn't mention that it includes what could become the first federal restrictions on facial recognition technology. None of those rules directly limit what a sheriff's office or city police department could do with facial recognition. One part of the bill requires that federal uniformed officers, such as FBI agents, wear body cams and use dash cams in marked vehicles. It states that facial recognition cannot be built into these devices or used to scan body cam video in real time, for example, to spot persons of interest in a crowd. To apply facial recognition to body cam footage, federal agents would need to secure a warrant after convincing a judge the information is relevant to an ongoing criminal investigation. Another provision specifies that police departments using federal grants to buy or rent body cams must adopt policies on the use of facial recognition on footage from the devices, including securing a judge's approval and only deploying it in cases of imminent threats or serious crimes. James Spivak, a policy associate at Georgetown's Center of Privacy and Technology, says those restrictions wouldn't affect many of the ways facial recognition is used by law enforcement. The technology is more commonly applied to footage from sources other than body or dash cams, such as surveillance cameras, sometimes solicited from private citizens or businesses. Quote, if Congress passes this legislation that barely touches facial recognition at all, companies could go right back to selling to the police and not much will change, Spivak said. Civil rights groups that campaign on surveillance and facial recognition say that would be concerning because the technology is unreliable and expands police powers, effects that burden communities of color most of all. Quote, I'm very disappointed that Congress would take this sort of regulatory approach, says Albert Fox Kahn, founder of the nonprofit Surveillance Technology Oversight Project and a fellow at NYU School of Law. Quote, this is incredibly biased technology that will put Americans of color at high risk of wrongful arrests than white Americans. IBM and Amazon didn't respond to requests for comment on the Justice in Policing Act. Microsoft declined to comment. IBM has halted sales of facial recognition permanently. Microsoft and Amazon both paused sales only to U.S. police until federal regulation is in place, with Amazon saying its hiatus will last 12 months.
Yeah.
That's
not long enough.
No, not long enough at all. I'll get to my point here. But facial recognition providers have come under growing scrutiny from researchers and privacy advocates in recent years over evidence that tech often makes more errors on darker skin tones than lighter ones, like we just mentioned. It goes into the National Institute of Technology or Science and Technology. They published in December found that when analyzing mugshots, many commercial facial recognition algorithms reported more false positives for American Indian, Black, and Asian people, although some of the software tested exhibited minimal differences. Two influential academic studies found that services offered by IBM, Microsoft, and Amazon that tried to identify a person's gender from their face were very accurate on people with light skin, but very inaccurate for people with darker skin, especially women. All three companies say that they have since improved their technology, which is part of my point here, that this is only making these technologies better. It's like teaching the AI, what do you need to do to become better at identifying all the different people here? MIT researcher Joy Bolamwini a co-author on those studies and founder of campaign group Algorithmic Justice League, that's a pretty intense name there, likes that the Justice in Policing Act blocks real-time facial recognition on body cams. Recent research has shown that unsteadiness of such footage reduces accuracy, but she says federal rules on facial recognition should also cover the many other uses of the technology. Quote, regardless of the accuracy of these systems, mass surveillance enabled by facial recognition can lead to chilling effects and the silencing of dissent, Buolamwini said.
Which we've seen in China.
Exactly, yeah. Last month, she co-authored a paper suggesting the creation of a new federal agency to regulate facial recognition modeled on the Food and Drug Administration. I remember maybe it was the FDA or the DEA that we were talking about, but it was one of the stories about the surveillance things earlier that we reported on a few episodes ago. We were wondering why they had one of these other Food and Drug Administration people doing all the surveillance, speculating that maybe they were bored. George Floyd's death, blah blah blah. The three big tech companies that asked for federal facial recognition rules this week are expected to take an active role in trying to shape them. IBM, Amazon, and Microsoft have all mentioned facial recognition on Senate lobbying fillings this year. Microsoft also has been an active player on legislation around facial recognition in states, including its home of Washington. It supported a facial recognition bill approved in March that takes effect July 2021 and requires police to obtain a warrant for any use of the technology. So I guess that's good. That's good, at least in Washington. But yeah, this is good in the sense that, hey, we're at least even the Democrats are like, hey, whoa, easy here, because
we're slowing down.
We're slowing down, especially because the colored man is easily misidentified. But again, this is just giving time for the tech to improve upon its abilities. And then once it's good to go, everyone's going to be like, oh, we must use it to prevent the crime.
Which, to be fair, is just what they want. That's the whole point. They're not stopping this facial recognition because they're scared of Skynet, cataloging all human beings for enslavement later. They specifically halted all this stuff because they want to wait till it's better, where it can accurately, and that's where the difference is here. Of course, here on this show, we don't want facial recognition being used without warrants at all.
Yeah.
But here they're saying, okay, well, let's not do it now. Which on the first impression, of course, everybody here starts cheering, huzzah! But the problem is, they just want to pause it until it can more accurately, pick people out of a crowd, which is opposite of what we're looking for. We need an immediate ban. We need Elon Musk to start tweeting about this is what we need.
Plus the kind of commercial products or maybe black market products that can be out there where your normal citizen can just take any kind of video footage and start identifying who they are. I mean, I guess that you need some kind of database to connect it all, but that kind of stuff, it's no good. But this is all it's sort of the give and take, the progress of this kind of stuff. That it's not going to slow down, but at least in the immediate, I guess right now, at least the Democrats are on the right side of history with this one. But again,
were there any Republicans supporting that bill?
I didn't see any in the article. I didn't, because it's very much part of the the at least part of the Democratic Party, or at least some maybe more traditional Democrats are more prone to being against crazy oversights. It's the more recent socialistic Democrat types.
Think of this small government is the Republican side of things, and of course facial recognition and cataloging of individuals based on facial recognition is a big government, big brother type of problem that we want to push back against.
Right.
So this is really just a timing issue, and once the tech catches up, which it sounds like they're only expecting is going to take a year. Lord knows what will happen after that.
Yeah, Jawburn in the chat was saying that the database is Facebook and Instagram. That's true. That's very true.
Oh, totally. And Apple, who is still the better of big tech companies,
lesser
privacy wise,
evils.
they kind of got some dings against their record recently, but with the facial phone locking thing, I was just recently watching, just kind of skimming around, and I found a video it was specifically, advice for protesters stuff, and filming the police. It was like a little class on how to film the police and legalities and how to try to do it the best you can without getting punched in the face. And they said right there, telling everybody to turn off the facial unlock on your phone. That's the biggest problem, because if you have a password, then the cops need a warrant. But if they can just hold it up to your face while you're handcuffed on the ground, then they just point the phone at your face, unlock your phone, and delete that video of whatever horrible thing that you filmed them doing.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. If anybody out there is using the facial lock on your phone, you just need to stop. That's it. Just stop.
Do you use it on your phone?
No, of course not.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
I've
crazy.
never used it on my phone. So.
Oh no! Yeah, I didn't even activate it and made sure that this and that and that. Nope.
Yeah.
No way, Jose.
Way.
So you don't use filters on Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook or anything like that. That also takes a facial scan, and some companies claim they don't store it, but there's a lot of sort of legal loopholes to allow you to say that while you are still doing it. So just don't use it. Don't worry about it. Don't bother.
Yep.
Okay, let's keep moving.
We got one more story before a quick break here. This is denofgeek.com. Immortality or Bust trailer politicizes Neolution. The many clones Tatiana Maslany played on Orphan Black banded together to fight Neolution. And this, did I skip a part? No, okay, that's where the article starts. Interesting. And this was when it mainly was a belief for people who'd undergone technological enhancements like Tails. The Immortality or Bust trailer follows the man who invented volcano surfing as he rides a transhuman wave to Washington. On the $6 Million Man, Lee Majors astronaut Steve Austin was rebuilt into the world's first bionic man. Government scientists made him better, stronger, faster through biotechnical enhancements. The man at the center of Immortality or Bust wants to take that one step further. Quote, "Do you want to live forever and become a cyborg?" asks the official website, which should cue me for my cyborg jingle that I don't have ready, but here it is.
Are you ready to become cyborg?
In the last presidential election, one man embarked on an impossible expedition to defeat aging and forever change the human being through science. Running for president as the Transhumanist Party nominee, Zoltan Istvan took his message to biohacking labs, cryopreservation facilities, transhumanist churches, and ultimately Washington, D.C. And, of course, we've tracked Zoltan for years here, many years, on all the things that he's been up to, and the Immortality bus that he jumped on and rode across America. And we're going to play the trailer for you here. It's a couple minutes long just to get an idea of what this whole documentary, 77-minute documentary is all about.
When he was 21, he sailed across the planet in a boat. He took 500 books with him. He's credited with inventing volcano surfing. Zoltan Istvan, he's running for president in 2016.
A typical transhumanist is somebody who has an interest in using science and technology to radically enhance themselves.
You know, it's like a port. More body modification than anything.
So when I present my tag to the car, it unlocks the door. Another reader to start my car.
This goes right onto my skull. Biohacking definitely is a hidden world.
This has been part of the problem with transhumanism is how do we spread transhumanism without doing something very provocative, what you probably really can't.
The plan is to drive this sarcophagus on wheels to Washington, D.C.
You want to run for president? It's like, yeah. Don't you think it's brilliant?
I am trying to essentially use my political platform as an agenda to push for transhumanism.
I saw this as a kind of science fiction, really.
I didn't come to die. I came to stay. I mean, Americans just hate science so much.
I'm not sure about this eternity thing.
America's gonna just grab a rifle and tell you to go back to wherever you came from.
A person who's a transhumanist wishes for extremely long life.
It does not help the spirit of evolution.
To enable human beings to bypass nature.
We don't really believe in that word natural.
You're a politician, you have to sell people hope.
The public is right, but the government is wrong.
You have to somehow tie this into the greatness of America.
I mean, we spend 20% of the federal budget basically on making bombs and defense and things like that, and just less than 2% on science and medical research.
Given today's level of technology, there's nothing more I can do for this person.
My father has had 4 heart attacks.
He can't survive heart surgery anymore.
The younger we die, the better our species becomes.
Technology will make it so our lives are healthier, better, and safer.
There you go. Immortality
defeat aging.
or bust. Sorry, I stepped on them saying defeat aging. So there you go. That's the trailer. And it says here that it won the Breakout Award at the 2019 Raw Science Film Festival. And it's going to be available on... Well, let's see. Where is it? I don't have the specific. It's got a little bit more on this article here, but it features libertarian Gary Johnson, cryptocurrency expert John McAfee, futurist Jack Fresco, and comedian Jimmy Dore. And some are not supportive of the political movement, like conspiracy theorist Alex Jones.
Oh, that guy.
He's
hey Jay, get on the eternity train.
Yeah, come on, AJ. He's the only known presidential candidate to be questioned by the Underground Collective.
Ooh.
Denim Geek. So there you go. I believe it's going to be available to watch here. I was trying to find where, but it's one of those documentaries to maybe check out if you're into the research to see what it was like for Zoltan to get in his 38-foot coffin-shaped bus across the United States there. And again, he is one of the politicians that has a microchip already in his hand. So... there you go.
Fancy lad.
Yeah, and the reason
Zoltan the fancy lad.
The fancy lad. And the reason why we track transhumanism, and I've personally tracked transhumanism for years, is because of that immortality aspect of it. And especially being a Christian or believer, a follower of Jesus Christ, it's like, what are you trying to... I mean, you're trying to basically do what Christ gave us through his work on the cross. So, I mean, it's a very direct attack on God and on Jesus in particular. So I just think it's a very fascinating topic that I think Christians need to pay attention to this. And I've talked to people that are just, I guess you can call them normies. Right, Basil? You like to call them normies, which, by the way, I looked up the origin of normies.
That's what they are.
Stay away from normies. Stay away from normies. I got another normie one, too.
Normies. You said you looked up the history
origin
of normies?
Yeah, the origin of the word normies. It's from like an 86. I can't remember the exact. I got to look it up again. But it was basically from some movie in the 80s or something. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's got these puppets that come out of their cage thing, but they get lectured that if you're gonna be out of the cage there, then you gotta be against you can't run into the normies or whatever. We'll get into more of it later.
So eloquent, such an eloquent.
I'm sorry, it was
Gonzo.
Put me on the spot there.
No worries. I thought you just had it.
No, I don't have it. Yeah, I don't have it loaded in.
Right.
But
we'll save that for another show then.
Yeah. But basically, I've talked to people that are believers, even more recently, and I just bringing up the concept of transhumanism. Their whole thing was like, well, they're never going to get it, so what's the point? And it's like, well, they're going to keep trying, and the more people start to really want this, the more you have, number one, you have an opportunity to preach the gospel on one hand. It's like, hey, what you're looking for has already been solved. But on the other hand, it's like, it's going to get weirder and weirder, and people are going to become less human. And that's the whole, eschatological prophetic aspect of this whole thing. So I don't know.
Yeah. And I think it's a big question. It's a big question for everybody. I mean, we, of course we come at it from the sort of Christ centered perspective, but it's not just a Christian issue. I mean, that's a human being issue that these questions need to be asked.
Right.
I think there is, and we might be guilty of sort of leaning into this paradigm a little bit, but it's not just technocrats versus Christians or something. You know what I mean? There's certainly a lot of secular reasons as well to not give into the temptation of artificially elongated, unnaturally elongated life. And it's a complicated conversation that we've been having for years. So we can't cover all the bases right now, right here. But,
Well, I think part of what you're saying there in terms of the secular view is definitely true. But what's interesting about that point is that it actually proves the Bible true in that, like in a roundabout way. But even the normal secularist saying like, hey, maybe this is wrong, or maybe death is wrong, all of it proves the biblical worldview, which is what's fascinating to me, is that we're coming to this place where we're having this religious, spiritual conversation based on where technology has taken us. And that's really the thing here that I find fascinating about the whole thing. And obviously the prophecies that really sort of suggest that this type of thing is going to be in play as we near the return of Christ, because it says in Matthew 24 that if he doesn't come back, all flesh would be destroyed. What does that mean? What do you mean, Jesus, all flesh would be destroyed? I think he means all flesh would be destroyed. So there you go. Time for break?
Okay, quick break.
It's break time.
Come on, take a break. Here we go, everybody. We're just going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Stick around because we got some more stories after the break. Although we might be coming up on your time limit here, Gons. It might
I can't
be
believe
time
how
for
long.
birthday dinner.
I think I might be able to go a little, maybe till like another 20 minutes or so.
Another 20 minutes or so?
20,
okay, well, we'll
minutes.
do this quick break and then do a few more stories. So stick around. We got some Chinese news. We got some COVID news. And then depending what we pick out of our list here and don't save for the next show, we've got some interesting stuff. A fifth state of matter has been discovered. That's a big deal.
And a Nephilim update.
Yeah, and a Nephilim update. So you want to stick around for that. But before we do, we want to thank some people. Gonzo, you got your dinger dinged? Okay.
Just testing the dinger.
So I want to take a second. I want to thank some of our new Twitch followers. As we've mentioned before, and we'll say it again, FaceLikeTheSun YouTube channel has been demonetized. So that's been kind of a big hit to you and your family, Gons, and we're very sorry to hear about that. But we're trying to get as many YouTube people here to make the switch over to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. It's going to help us keep doing the show and support ourselves and make the show a lot more fun with some cool tools that Twitch is going to give us access to. But in order to do that, we need more people to head to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. Those of you over on YouTube, that's cool. Do what you got to do, man. Live your life. But there may be a day where you will just stop getting notifications about us going live. So in order to fight against the system there, and if you ever want to watch our show again, you might need to go follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. And I don't get paid to say that. I'm just saying, for your own good, you should follow us there because it's only a matter of time before we totally disappear from YouTube. But I want to thank some of our new Twitch followers. And Twitch recently changed their sort of layout here, so I'm not even sure if these are chronologically in order, but I'm going to do my best here. Are you ready, Gonzo?
Yep.
Here we go. First of all, I want to thank LockDog187 for following us. Thank you very much, LockDog. Johnny Two Guns, as opposed to Johnny One Gun. This is Two Guns.
Or Three Guns.
Got BLKMT Black Metal. Oh, there we go. I figured it out. Thanks for following. We got Blackstrap Bob. Thank Blackstrap Bob. Oh, Gons, we got to watch out, buddy, because we have Demon Lord Abarax following us. Oh, no,
Sweet.
The Demon Lord. We got Honey Badger KC, which I thought we thanked before, but I'm just reading down the list here. Jam 59. This one's funny. We got the Homo Superior.
Ooh.
Yeah. Jane, stay sane. Jane, stay sane. Thank you very much for the follow. Tune. Yeah, we got Too Cool for Mind Control. We got Sons of 2020. Nick Pierce. Thanks for the follow, Nick Pierce.
Thanks, Nick.
We got Yahweh Is, or YHWHIS. So Yahweh His. Yahweh Is. Thank you. We got Awesome Vito. We got Get Saved Now. And we already did call this person out, but I just like the name so much. Thank you, Fact Checker Bot. Love having you here, Fact Checker Bot. We need somebody keeping an eye on us. And if you are new to the Twitch, just say so in the chat, because right now I do not trust this list. So if you're new and I did not call you out, put it in the chat and I'll give you a shout out now. So thank you very much. Those who follow us on Twitch, very special. It makes us feel all warm and fuzzy, and you are helping us out quite a bit. Guns, I think you want to should we do the Patreon stuff now so we don't have to take another break later? Just get it all done. Okay, let's do it. Now, here's the thing, folks. We run on what's called the value for value model. You'll notice we don't run advertisements. That's because a long time ago we decided that we don't like the idea of gaining your trust, gaining your attention, and then turning around behind your back and selling that trust to corporations for our own personal gain. So we do not do that, probably against our accountant's better judgment, but it gives the opportunity for you, the listeners, to not just be passive listeners, but to also become producers of the show. And that's how we work here. That's how I think that's how media is going to go. You know, you can't trust people who are advertising, because now they can't say things that they probably would say, because now they might lose their advertisers. This show can be what it is because of people like you becoming producers of the show. And I got some new producers here who have joined the team over on patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. Patreon.com/CCNT. Guns, are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. We've had an upgraded producership from This Intangible Existence. Thank you very much. We have a new producer named Word Sword.
Ooh, the Word Sword.
Love it. Let's see. Ooh, we lost a producer. That's sad. Somebody needs to help us with that one. But we got a new producer named Jimmy.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. And I believe that is all the new producers over on patreon.com/CCNT. But we also have patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. Do you have that pulled up?
I do.
Right now? Okay. Who do we got? Who's new?
We have Zuzim Slayer.
Zuzim Slayer. Thank you very much.
Coming in big, too. Big
you.
Time support there. So appreciate that. And I think we got some support on PayPal from Sam.
Thank you very much, Sam.
Thank you, Sam. And a bunch of recurring ones that we will forego at the moment.
Are they new?
I don't think there's any new ones. I can't tell.
You got to check the email account for new ones.
Well, sometimes it just, actually here, I think this one's new here. Joseph's a new one here.
Joseph. Thank you very much, Joseph.
And I think that's it for the created ones here.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you guys so much. Those are the new producers of the show. Give them a round of applause. And if you see them in the chat, say thank you. And you too, this is a value for value model. So if you've listened to this show, if you've listened to 1 or 10 or 100 episodes, if you get value from this show, if you keep coming back, it's your turn to join the team and help produce the show by helping out financially. It's the only way we're able to keep going. And now that YouTube has demonetized Gonza's channel, that's a big problem for him. So you can help pick up the slack. He's got a new baby coming, folks.
Baby boy.
Brand new son. Brand new baby boy coming down the pipeline.
Crazy.
So
Weird.
So there you go. You can help support the family and the kids and the cats and keep the show going by joining the team. So thank you very much. Now, there's other ways of supporting the show if the financial route is just not available to you. There's a lot of ways to do it. One is you can create jingles. A lot of our jingles now are created by listeners. If you're a creative person and have access to some sound editing software or something like that, and you want to create some jingles for us, based on the show or referencing a topic or, a tagline or something we say on the show. You know what I like about the jingle producers, Gons, is really to be to do a good job with the jingle. You gotta feel it. You gotta have a good idea of what the show is like. You gotta have listened for a while. You know where it might pop into a show. It's got to be about 5 seconds or less. A good beat helps. Also helps not to have any copywritten music, or else that will cause troubles with us. So there you go. And if you're out there, you want to do something, send it in. We had a few come in today. We got Joe Biden's hairy legs. That was a good one.
Yep.
What
I got a few here. We got one from Magoo, and this is a food jingle that we can use. I'm hungry. My tummy is rumbling. I'm hungry.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little long. We could cut it down, but still good. That's the guy who's left so many voice messages for the Joyspiracy theory, which I've learned to love. Him leaving those messages kind of weirded me out at first, but now I can't help but love his little thing. So very good. We talk about food related stories sometimes, so you might hear that one pop up, folks.
That's a good one. We also got one from. He goes by XX Ghost Realm 108XX.
Oh, yeah. I remember Ghost Realm.
And he actually took a clip from Derek Gilbert, good friend of the show. And I actually edited it down to just the Derek Gilbert part because I thought that was the best part of the clip here.
Hello, this is Military Information Support. How may I deceive you?
Military Information Support. How may I deceive you? I like it.
Yes, very good. Gotta love Derek. Derek's sense of humor, big fan.
Yep. And then we also got one from Amos and Tim. And this one's I kind of like this one because it's not really like a musical jingle, but it's it's more of like a, I don't know. We'll just play it here.
Look, reinforcements. We're doing.
The guy who wrote Hamilton.
Right. I don't know
wonder
if that's
what
him.
That's from. Yeah, I don't know where we're going to use that, but we're going to put it on the list and have it ready.
At the very least, we can have the scream. The screen part.
Reinforcements were doomed.
And then we also have Michael. He and I saved this for the last one because it's a back to the show jingle, which I guess would work because are we done with all this stuff here? We can go back to the show.
What was I gonna do? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, let's go back to the show. We're back in the saddle again. I'm a little bit afraid of getting a copyright strike for that, but we'll have to be careful.
Well, we'll be careful.
All right, so back with the show. Whoopsies, I lost our notes. Let me get back to the notes. Here we go. Okay,
we're doing COVID.
Doing some COVID, Gons. You want to open this up for us?
Let's do it.
COVID.
So, I saw a tweet from Jay Dyer. Also, was a guest on Canary Cry Radio a few episodes ago.
Oh, yeah.
And he noticed that the number 322 was literally everywhere in articles. 322 active COVID-19 infections in Dakota County. And then you got Loop. 322 will be dedicated Wednesday in memory of the fallen Abilene police officer. 322 COVID-19 cases reported in Wisconsin. And he's got more here. 322.
322s.
Yeah, 322 cases. 17 new COVID-19 deaths reported in Mississippi. What else here? 322 deaths. COVID-19 in Oklahoma. 322 new Kentucky COVID-19 cases. 9 new deaths. 322. This is back from May, and I just Googled 322 COVID just to check it out, and I think some of the same ones pulled up. But yeah, Wisconsin, 322 new COVID cases. Lockdown, Lincolnshire, 322 coronavirus cases.
Oh, interesting. They're all related to corona.
In the Sarja municipality.
Scott in chat, wherever Scott's at, says it's 3:22 o'clock right now.
Oh, depending on where you are.
That would
not
make
where
sense.
we
Looking
are.
at my clock, it's 3:22 somewhere, baby.
Well, give it another minute, and it will be in certain places here, maybe in Hawaii or something, as we record this. But yeah, Camden County, 322 more COVID cases. Coronavirus death rises to 322. I mean, it is really, really bizarre the number of times the number 322 comes up. And
and skeptics would say, well, of course 322 comes up because there's, if you're counting to 1,000, you're going to get to 322 somewhere.
A clock is right. The point is,
why would so many reports specifically report the number 322? Why don't they wait until why don't they do it at 300?
Why don't they round it?
400. Yeah, why don't they round it to 3, whatever? So the fact that they're reporting specifically 322 is a clue. And Gons, you're going to need to talk a little bit about 322 because it looks like some people are not catching it.
Yeah, if you're part of the Skull and Bones secret society organization over there at Yale University, 322 is a very important number. It's on there. If you look at the, let's pull up the episode art here because I think you used it in the background there.
Good point. Yeah. Also, it's being mentioned that 322 was the original Dragon launch time.
Oh, that's right. That's right. For Saturday. That's right. The rescheduled time for the launch.
Yep.
And if you just look at the Skull and Bones logo, you'll see the skull. Well, you can't see it in the art that we're showing here, but the skull and then the crossbones and then the number 322. So yes, very important date, number, not just date, but number to the secret society members, of which I think Joe Biden was part of.
Skull and Bones. So the Skull and Bones Society is now famous secret society.
Sorry, the Bush family dynasty were all part of Skull and Bones, as was John Kerry. And that was that one year, several years ago, when Kerry ran against Bush. And somebody asked, I think it was Kerry, or maybe it was Bush, about what about you guys both being Skull and Bones? And I think it was Bush Jr. He's like, we don't talk about it, or whatever he said. I got to find the clip somewhere. Right. It was pretty funny. He's a lot of politicians and whatnot.
I'm assuming you don't, since I don't see it in the notes, you don't have a deeper dive into the meaning of 322 and things like that.
Not in front of me at the moment, but there's plenty of research out there. Just Google some of that stuff, and you'll find videos and articles that have written about it.
There you go. It's a prompt for you to go down your own rabbit holes. I like to think that's a valuable service that we provide. Gons is providing relevant and valuable prompts on what to research and which rabbit holes to go down, because it can get a little squirrely left on your own.
Look it up.
Oh, I forgot about that one. All right, moving on, Gons.
Yes, we got another COVID.
Okay.
COVID.
All right, so I'm coming from MSN.com here, and it's actually taken from Insider, but the article is titled, "People Who Ignore Social Distancing Rules May Have Psychopathic Personality Traits," study finds. So we got to demonize the non-mask wearers, Gons. You got to show your virtue and demonize those who don't.
Oh,
because those who don't
comply,
social distance, are non-compliant and psychopathic.
Gosh.
The article reads, if reports of people licking toilet seats, and now this came out 6 days ago, so a little older, but I think it's still in our purview here. If reports of people licking toilet seats and intentionally spitting on others during the coronavirus pandemic left you astounded, a new study on the psychology of pandemic behaviors could answer your questions about what motivated their behaviors. The study, a peer-reviewed preprint that will soon be published in the journal Social Psychology and Personality Science, asked 502 people to answer questions online about how often they followed coronavirus pandemic health guidelines, if they plan to follow guidelines going forward, and what they'd do if they were diagnosed with COVID-19, the disease caused by the novel coronavirus. The researchers also asked personality-related questions to determine where survey participants fell on scales for conscientiousness, cooperativeness, neuroticism, tendency to take risks, meanness, and lack of restraint.
How mean are you,
Participants
Basil?
answered questions in a manner that suggested they had low levels of neuroticism, tendency to take risks, meanness, and lack of restraint. They were more likely to follow social distancing guidelines. But if they scored high in these traits, they were less likely to follow guidelines. Study author Pavel Blogov said these traits are also common psychopathic traits. Quote, I knew that traits from the so-called dark triad, narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, as well as traits subsumed within psychopathy, are linked to health risk behavior and health problems, and I expected them to be implicated in health behaviors during the pandemic, Blogov told SciPost. Indeed, his study suggested a small correlation between psychopathic traits and disregard for pandemic public health policies does exist. People who admitted to ignoring health guidelines may be doing so deliberately. No kidding. Blogov said the majority of survey participants said they followed coronavirus health guidelines, but those who didn't follow guidelines answered the survey questions in a manner that suggested they knowingly and purposefully ignored the safety of advice. Again, okay, it's good. Science.
MSN.
For example, study participants who scored high on traits like meanness and lack of restraint also said they didn't follow social distancing and hygiene practices like hand washing. Blogov said these findings are concerning from a public health perspective. Quote, one potential implication from this research is that there may be a minority of people with particular personality styles on the narcissism and psychopathy spectrum that have a disproportionate impact on the pandemic by failing to protect themselves and others, he said. Of course, the study had some limitations. The study sample only contained U.S. adults, so the findings don't represent the entire population's beliefs and underlying psychology about pandemic safety practices. The self-reported nature of the survey could have also skewed results, though Blogov said it was conducted in March when the pandemic was just ramping up and may have therefore eliminated some social biases surrounding safety behaviors. Additionally, Blogov said his study only showed a small correlation between personality traits and pandemic-related behaviors, and it's likely people who don't have psychopathic traits are also ignoring health guidelines. The results do not mean that viral disease is spread only by irresponsible or inconsiderate people, Blogov said. So there you go. If you're not social distancing, you're a psychopath. Now, this does draw an unfortunate correlation for the establishment to, all those people not following social distancing while protesting and rioting and looting. So are those people all psychopaths? I don't know, man.
Not a huge sample size to go with a full headline like this. But also, meanness? How do you measure meanness? Like, what do you mean meanness? Sure. Like, oh, you answered a question a certain way. Like, oh, you must be mean, which means you're a psychopath.
I actually did some research on that stuff a long time ago. They have some very interesting categories that they use for this type of research. And it's not, people are kind of used to, what are they, personality tests and things like that. Right.
But it's more subtle, right? It's like more... Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, they have like their own sort of philosophical definitions, their own clinical definitions to them. Right. Because he refers to something called the dark triad.
Yeah.
Which is narcissism, Machiavellianism, which is just kind of a fancy hoity-toity way to say manipulativeness,
right?
And psychopathy.
I thought it was the Chinese gang dark triad.
What are they called? Is that different from the Yakuza?
Yeah, the Yakuza is in Japan. I think China has some kind of triad situation.
Oh, the triad. Okay. So, yeah, there you go. But the big thing about this article is it's more demonization of people who, are not following the status quo of, doing what they're told. Listen up, slave. Do what you're told. You got to listen to the Fauci Meister and the Birx woman. And everybody is trying to tell you what to do.
Little Fauci man.
Don't worry about actually listening to the CDC, because of course the CDC says you shouldn't wear a mask. But so eschew the CDC and just listen to Daddy Fauci. But
Daddy Fauci. Wow. That's a whole nother. All right, make it trend. I listen to Daddy Fauci.
Hashtag Daddy Fauci.
Oh my gosh.
But, it's this demonization of your fellow American where not only are they just jerks now for not wearing a mask, it's not just the Karens who aren't wearing a mask. Now they're actual psychopaths. So this is not a very cool thing to come out and start telling people.
Of course.
As if families and friends weren't being ripped apart enough. Now you have a reason to call.
Yeah.
Somebody a psychopath.
A psychopath. And at the very end of the article, I like how they slip in the blag off quote. The results do not mean that viral disease is spread only by irresponsible or inconsiderate people. Just to kind of say other people that wear the mask can spread it. People that are compliant can spread it too. But certainly they try to.
People are getting the hashtag Daddy Fauci going in the chat. And Nephilim Kitten says, please, someone new to Twitch, make Daddy Fauci their Twitch name. Dude, if there's not a Daddy Fauci Twitch user following us by Wednesday, I'm going to be very disappointed. You YouTube people, you got to follow us on Twitch just as a backup. Look, I'm tired of trying to fight the YouTube people, but somebody needs to follow us on Twitch and call themselves Daddy Fauci.
Daddy Fauci.
That's the one person we don't have following us yet.
We
got
got
Biden, we got Gates, we got Musk, we got Susan Wojcicki, we got everybody. We got Zark Muckerberg. We need Daddy Fauci to follow us.
Welcome to Chinese News!
Yes. Chinese news. Hold on.
Go.
I lost the story. Where is it? Here it is. Oh, I got to move it in. Okay. This is NBCnews.com. Beijing will not be a second Wuhan. Fears of new outbreak after string of coronavirus cases. So there we go. It's starting up again. It says here, Beijing has reported a rising number of new COVID-19 cases for a second day running, raising fears about the reemergence of the coronavirus in the Chinese capital. Beijing health officials on Monday confirmed 36 new COVID-19 cases, the same increase as a day earlier, which was the city's highest daily infection count in nearly 2 months. There had been no new domestic cases in the city for 56 consecutive days, but since June 11th, the capital has reported 79 new cases. The new outbreak has been linked to a major wholesale food market in Beijing's southwestern Fengtai district. The spike has put the district in wartime emergency mode. Really? 36 people. Okay. Wartime emergency mode. Shutting down the market and closing off 11 residential compounds.
Wartime emergency mode.
Yeah, it's super intense.
What?
You got like
For 36 cases, they're in wartime emergency mode?
79 since June 11th. So,
79. Okay.
It's still under 100 since, 4 or 5 days.
Crazy.
Yeah. Shutting down the market and closing off 11 residential compounds in its vicinity as authorities try to identify people who have recently visited the market and their close contacts with their giant surveillance apparatus. China's top epidemiologist Wu Xinyu told the Chinese state media outlet China News told the Chinese state media outlet China News on Sunday that the authorities have yet to pinpoint the source of the infection in the Xinfadi market, adding that he believes the outbreak is still isolated and has not spread to the whole of Beijing, home of some 20 million people. Quote, Beijing will not turn into a second Wuhan, spreading the virus to many cities all across the country and even needing a lockdown. Zheng Guang, the former chief epidemiologist at Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention and currently a senior expert at the National Health Commission, said at the press conference on Sunday, the coronavirus pandemic is believed to have originated, blah, blah, blah. We know about all that stuff. I don't think there's much more to say here. Today, the city traced nearly 200,000 people who have visited the market since May 30th. Just more stuff about how they're tracing people. The World Health Organization said Saturday it's closely monitoring the outbreak in Beijing. All cases are in isolation and under care as needed, and contact tracing is underway, the WHO said in a statement. Genetic sequencing of samples is also underway, and rapid sharing of these results is important to understand the origin of the cluster and links between cases. So there you go, China. Locking down, wartime.
I know, man. It's spooky. It's really interesting how we're sort of just on the brink of following in the same direction.
Oh, especially with
occasionally there's these little stories of hope, like a Democrat-led push to restrict facial recognition, which facial recognition running rampant in China right now, connected with all this contact tracing and nonsense. But the push for the contact tracing over here is really disturbing.
Yeah. Well, they already have all the stuff in place, which is why I think it's interesting how they make such a big deal out of it when really, technically, quietly, they can, try to figure out what's going on. But of course, with MSNBC reporting it, I'm sure this is part of the fear tactics for the United States as well. They're trying to get everybody, psyched out for it and continue some kind of quarantine or taking all this stuff seriously because, one, if you don't, you're a psychopath, and two, look at China. They're starting to
look at them.
Look at China.
Well, in that case, I want to bring something up as well, also COVID related, from BusinessInsider.com.
COVID.
Man, I can't find this article either. Hold on, give me 1 second while
I got it.
Up. I know you got it, but I got to show it. I got to show the people.
Yeah, I forget. Gosh, now Daddy Basil is starting in the chat.
See what you did to yourself. That backfired.
I know, that's what
no,
I get.
Daddy Fauci, fellas and ladies. It's Daddy Fauci. Okay, go ahead.
All right, here we go. The article is titled "Cleanse Portals."
Ooh.
That zap away germs with ultraviolet light are starting to appear as businesses begin to reopen amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Whoa. Cleanse portals, gonzo.
Yeah, it's going to zap you.
As cities across the U.S. have gradually begun reopening over the past several weeks, some venues are taking a new high-tech approach to getting rid of germs, zapping them away with ultraviolet light. Cleanse portals that get rid of bacteria and viruses on surfaces are beginning to appear in places such as bakeries, homeless shelters, and offices. New York City's Magnolia Bakery announced last month that it was installing a portal made by a company called Health with an E, Healthy, that emits far UVC rays. The machine is capable of cleaning bacteria and viruses on skin, clothing, and goods in about 20 seconds, according to the company. Lars Eller of the Washington Capitals also donated one of Healthy's cleanse portals to a homeless shelter in Washington, D.C., and a digital marketing firm in Northern Virginia has also installed a germ-killing light portal. Germ-killing light portal. That one's not even in quotes. They're just calling it a portal.
Yep.
According to NBC. While UVC light is considered dangerous for use on people, as it can damage eyes and skin, far UVC light, the type used in Healthy's portal, portals is said to be safe for humans. Far UVC rays aren't capable of penetrating the dead cell layer of human skin or the eyes, meaning it can't damage living cells in the body, according to the Columbia University Center for Radiological Research. There's been uncertainty as to whether such rays are powerful enough to kill coronavirus germs, but an upcoming paper published by the journal Scientific Reports said far UVC could eliminate 90% of coronaviruses in the air in about 8 minutes, the Wall Street Journal reported. That's according to findings from David Brenner, the director of Columbia Center for Radiological Research. The idea of using ultraviolet light for sanitation is far from a new concept. Hospitals and medical facilities have used the tech for sanitation purposes, and companies like Phone Soap sell accessories that resemble miniature tanning beds with the purpose of cleansing mobile devices. I've been getting the ads for that recently. It's like this little tanning bed you put your phone in, and it kills the germs. Of course, the second you open it, all the germs get back on it, but that's besides the point. As businesses look to safely reopen amid the coronavirus pandemic, there's been an increased interest in sanitation machines that can cleanse surfaces with UV light. In addition to far UVC portals like those made by Healthy, dental offices are considering the use of UV equipment to disinfect air, surfaces, and equipment, according to CNBC. Then it talks a little bit more about UV light, but there you go. We're going to have cleansing portals we're going to have to walk through, Gons.
Yeah, it's another one of those pieces of technology for the Ronas that, like the robot arm that can be replaced, they can replace the swab with a knife, and the AI can go haywire and like jab you in the throat. This thing, all you got to do is like turn up the radiation level, and all the you got zombies walking through.
The funny thing is that now I'm not a light scientist or something, but I don't know how strong this is, but it says 8 minutes it takes to kill the stuff in the air. That's far too long to like try to walk in a door. And then it says 20 seconds. Now think about 20 seconds. You're going to have to stand in this little portal thing. If you are getting, a good amount of people going into a building, 20 seconds per person walking through the door is insane. I mean, you think about the time it takes to walk in a door, maybe a half a second, maybe a second. If you're
how big is the door?
1 second. Yeah. But if you, have a public building or a business and somebody has to stand there for 20 seconds, it's going to take all day to get your people in there.
Oh, it's kind of like the TSA. Same deal, but now you got anytime you walk into a building, you got to get scanned.
Right.
You probably have to hold up the Illuminati triangle symbol, Remember how you had to do that in the...
That goes to the long-term breakdown of this, which is just like 9/11, there was no TSA, there was no body scanning machines, and suddenly it became just a normal part of life. Now, hopefully, these cleansing portals don't become just a normal part of life every time you want to walk into a door, but, you never know which one of these things stick.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, I got the show burps.
Daddy Fauci
have appeared again.
It's eating that raw ramen earlier. It gets you. Telling you, man. You got.
I can feel it.
You're supposed to put water on the ramen.
Daddy Fauci's in the chat.
Oh, it is.
We got him.
We got him. Awesome. Thank you,
Daddy Fauci. Thanks for following. Portals equal #Daddy approved.
This one's for Daddy Fauci.
Thanks, Daddy Fauci.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
For a short show, a very very eventful one.
Short show that's almost 2 hours long already.
I know. We got speaking of which, we got a few minutes left.
We got a couple minutes so we can go here. Let's do a couple of these interesting stories here. Let's do this one real quick.
Space.
Wow.
Space. Wanna go to space?
What happened?
Want to go to space?
What
I was saying wow. I forgot I was saying it out loud, but the YouTube peeps are really pulling into the Twitch station here. So we'll have to take 1 second at the end of the show and thank the new Twitch followers.
Okay, perfect. And I can't find the article. I don't know what happened to all my tabs. This is like, I don't think people understand the tab situation on putting these shows together.
So misunderstood.
Misunderstood. Okay. Firstpost.com. Quantum state. Astronauts create exotic fifth state of matter on the International Space Station.
This is cool.
And it's not love? Love is not the fifth element? Okay. Astronauts on board the International Space Station have managed to create an exotic matter by using the microgravity of space. The study saw researchers generate the fifth state of matter, which is also known as Bose-Einstein condensates, BEC. These are created when a gas of bosons is cooled down nearly to absolute zero. According to a report in The Independent, at these extreme temperatures, matter begins to behave oddly, and atoms become a single entity showing quantum properties. The report mentions that scientists have always hoped to use the Bose-Einstein condensates to, am I saying that right? Condensates. Condensates, to gain insight into quantum mechanics, but gravity has always been a deterring factor. This led researchers to send equipment known as the Cold Atom Lab to the International Space Station. New Scientist reports that Cold Atom Laboratory, CAL, was launched in the ISS in 2018 to investigate the Bose-Einstein condensate. It reveals that the substance was first theorized by Albert Einstein and Satyendra Nath Bose in the early 1920s as the fifth state of matter. A report in Space.com mentions Robert Thompson, a physicist at the California Institute of Technology in Pasadena, saying that while researchers have created Bose-Einstein condensates using rubidium atoms, they eventually incorporate potassium atoms as well to find out what happens when two condensates intermingle. Thompson added that while earlier their major insights into the inner workings of nature have come from particle accelerators and astronomical observations, he believes that in the future, precision measurements using cold atoms will play an increasingly important role. The report stated that researchers by using the Cold Atom Lab found they could increase the amount of time they can analyze these condensates to more than 1 second. Scientists would only have hundredths of a single second for the same task when performing the experiments on Earth. And the results of the study were published on June 11th of the journal Nature. So there you go. They're allegedly figuring some stuff out with the quantum levels in alleged outer space, or at least
alleged outer space.
Alleged space.
You know, it's interesting because it's kind of like how you can't imagine a color that you've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine a different state of matter. What is that even like to come in contact with? Now, of course, they're only able to keep this this fifth state active for about a second now that they got to do it out in zero gravity. So who knows? Maybe they don't even really know, which I'm sure is the case because it's such new science. But man, a fifth state, Gons. What are we gonna do with this?
We're gonna find love. We're gonna use love to solve the world's issues. You've never seen The Fifth Element? Come on.
I've seen The Fifth Element. Multipass? Now, along the same lines, I'm going to jump down just a little bit because I saw some people who were interested specifically. Well, first of all, yes, we saw the article about how they are assuming that there are at least 36 intelligent alien civilizations in our galaxy, says scientists. That's from Forbes. It's been all over the place. Plenty of people sent it to us. The alien stories are a little tougher because they're almost never anything. And this one also isn't anything. It's just scientific models, the same types of models that we're going to kill 2 million people with coronavirus that had to get walked back. So there's some scientific models that are thinking there's 36 intelligent alien life civilizations in the Milky Way on their own. But that's okay. We're going to skip that story. You just need the headline. There you go. Computer models. Now, I'm heading down to sciencealert.com, Gons. And the graphic at the top there makes me so dizzy in this virtual reality space. So I'm going to try to get away from that. The article is titled, Physicists Have Reversed Time on the Smallest Scale Using a Quantum Computer. Here we go. Very interesting. It's easy to take time's arrow for granted, but the gears of physics actually work just as smoothly in reverse. Maybe that time machine is possible after all. An experiment from 2019 shows just how much wiggle room we can expect when it comes to distinguishing the past from the future, at least on a quantum scale. It might not allow us to relive the 1960s, but it could help us better understand why not. Researchers from Russia, it's the Ruskies, and the U.S. teamed up to find a way to break or at least bend one of physics's most fundamental laws of energy.
Russian collusion.
Russian collusion for time travel.
That's the real collusion right here.
Connect the dots.
CNN was right all along, folks, but they just weren't. They just weren't on the right target.
We got Russian collusion and time travel. Researchers from Russia and the U.S. teamed up to find a way to break or at least bend one of physics's most fundamental laws of energy. The second law of thermodynamics is less a hard rule and more of a guiding principle for the universe. It says hot things get colder over time as energy transforms and spreads out from areas where it's most intense. It's a principle that explains why our coffee won't stay hot in a cold room, why it's easier to scramble an egg than to unscramble it, and why nobody ever let you patent a perpetual motion machine. It's also the closest we can get to a rule that tells us why we can remember what we had for dinner last night but have no memory of next Christmas. Ooh. Quote, that law is closely related to the notion of the arrow of time that posits the one-way direction of time from the past to the future, said quantum physicist Gordy Lesovic from the Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology.
Putin.
Russian collusion. Verified Russian collusion. Virtually every other rule in physics can be flipped and still make sense. For example, you could zoom in on a game of pool and a single collision between any two balls won't look weird if you have happened to see it in reverse. On the other hand, if you watched balls roll out of the pockets and reform the starting pyramid, it would be a sobering experience. That's the second law at work for you. On the macro scale of omelets and games of pool, we shouldn't expect a lot of give in the laws of thermodynamics, but as we focus in on the tiny gears of reality, in this case solitary electrons, loopholes appear. Electrons aren't like tiny billiard balls, they're more akin to information that occupies a space. Their details are defined by something called the Schrödinger equation, which represents the possibilities of an electron's characteristics as a wave of chance. If this is a bit confusing, let's go back to imagining a game of pool. But this time, the lights are off. You start with the information, a cue ball in your hand. Why is the cue ball in your hand? I don't know. And then send it rolling across the table. The Schrödinger equation tells you that that ball is somewhere on the pool table moving around at a certain speed. Okay, they're going to go really deep into this metaphor here. Everybody should be aware of Schrödinger's equation. If you're not, there's another rabbit trail for you to go down.
Look it up.
Scanning to see what the next important piece of information is. Nope, they just sort of end still talking about pool. So long story short, they were able to, of course, on a very, very tiny scale, watch time move in reverse, being the chaos turning into order right on its own, which is opposite of what we're used to, Gons.
I had a couple things highlighted here. And
all right, tell me about it.
It says... So they used, okay, I'll just read it here. Rather than patiently wait around and watch funding trickle away, the team used the undermined states of particles in a quantum computer as their pool ball, and some clever manipulation of the computer as their time machine.
Oh, no.
It's all a simulation.
No. We can't use any more simulations. They're useless.
Each of these states,
learned that by now.
Each of these states or qubits was arranged into a simple state which corresponds to a hand holding the ball. Once the quantum computer was set into action, these states rolled out into a range of possibilities. By tweaking certain conditions in the computer setup, those possibilities were confined in a way that effectively rewound the Schrödinger equation deliberately. So I don't know. Like, yeah, they kind of did it, but it's also like we tinkered with the equations and the computers.
That's
and
how it always is.
Yeah,
That's how it always is.
So it's a
Show
fail.
me the proof. I will say, I don't have the article right in front of me. I meant to put it in a show long ago, but this was a recent thing they discovered, and I'll just walk through it real quick just while we're on the topic of time travel and weird quantum stuff. So the Earth is being continually pelted with strange particles from space. Some of them can go through the Earth, and some of them cannot go through the Earth. They're sort of exotic particles and rays that come from space. We don't know what they are or where they come from, but some can go through the Earth and some cannot. So through some fancy sciencey detectors, you can measure the particles blasting through the Earth. But this other type of particle does not go through the Earth. Well, recently they discovered these particles, the latter, the ones who cannot go through the Earth. They discovered them blasting out from the Earth, meaning that, their idea is that this is some type of time travel happening, because there's no way for these particles to go through the Earth or be created from the Earth. So when they see them coming out of the Earth, they think that they're particles moving backwards in time. There you go. Fun thing.
It's all vibrations. God spoke it into existence. It's all just vibrating. He holds it together. It's all just him doing stuff. And maybe he's messing with the scientists. I would like to think God messes with the scientists at the quantum level, He's like, ooh, I'll show you this particle going backwards now.
He probably does, much like the chat is screwing with me with #DaddyBasil. All right, Gons, we got about 10 minutes until you got to get out of here. So hit us with that Nephilim update, and we will hit the end of show mix. Once we start the countdown for end of show, people, don't leave, because we've got a great Canary Cry playlist coming up at the end. We've got some very talented people making songs for and about the show. If you're a creative person, songwriter, musician person, make a song about the show, about a topic on the show, about Daddy Fauci, about Gonz's samurai warrior princess, something like that, and we'll play it at the playlist at the end of the show. So stick around. But before that, Gonz, give us that Nephilim update.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update.
TheSun.co.uk, our favorite source of information. Alien Tracker. This eerie Google map revealed UFO and Bigfoot sightings in your area.
Whoa.
Yeah. A pair of free maps available via Google highlight mysterious UFO and Bigfoot sightings where you live.
That's fun.
The user-generated tools pinpoint reported encounters across the globe based on news reports spanning several decades. And there's this really kind of blurry, creepy picture of what allegedly is a Bigfoot.
Looks like a stump to me.
A stump or somebody that hasn't showered in a long time. Hundreds of alleged Bigfoot and UFO sightings have hit headlines since the mid-20th century, though none are backed by irrefutable proof. And while scientists have widely denounced the observation as nonsense, reports have continued to pour in. The two sighting maps were uploaded to Google My Maps, which lets users put together custom maps and share them on the web. And okay, so there you go. You got some UFO sightings. The other side story that I wanted to mention here is one of our listeners. I don't know if he's in the chat. I saw him in there earlier. This is what was? Let me just try to find the username here. Unlimited. Let's see.
What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to find the guy. Hold on.
This is great.
I know.
This is great. This is really good.
Incarnate Unlimited. There we go. That's what his username was. Incarnate Unlimited. He sent us a picture. He said that his wife found and sent this picture.
Oh, the Secret Service Nephilim.
Secret Service Nephilim. Yeah, he's asking if this is the Antichrist. Is it the Gaborim? According to some people, this is a 12-foot tall individual. And if you look at if you're seeing this on the screen, I guess this was the I guess like a header that was used for the official I think Twitter account of the White House or something. I can't remember what it was. The Secret Service maybe. And I looked at it, and certainly it does seem like there's a super tall guy standing in front of the airplane there.
Yeah,
and
I spent some time looking at that. I haven't come to a conclusion yet. Looks like kind of, with camera angles and perspective shifting and stuff like that, it's a little hard to tell. But it would not surprise me if Secret Service had some Nephilim on the payroll.
Nephilim, yeah, and that's the thing. My first thought also was perspective or some kind of glitch, because it is kind of a grainy photo, and maybe you can't really make out the legs if you look very closely. But we'll leave the picture in the on the website canarycrynewstalk.com, so you guys can take a look for yourselves. And we've known that they've had super soldiers and stuff in the works for a long time. And maybe they've got one of them standing out here on the airplane. Certainly a big, tall guy if he's at the same level as the reporters there.
I mean,
but
I don't know if we want to get into it here, but maybe we'll go a little bit deeper into it and put all the photos up there, because I know people want to know. But if you switch from picture to picture, like one of them, he looks super tall and his head comes up to a certain spot on the engine. And then if you look on one of the other photos, other people's heads come up to the same spot on the engine, but he's standing in a different place and does look taller. So I can see how it'd be some compelling pictures to try to, do some forensic stuff on. But who knows? Like I said, would not surprise me if we had some Nephilim on the payroll.
Especially, have you seen Trump's son? Have you seen how tall he's gotten?
What do you mean tall? He's gotten taller?
Oh my gosh, you haven't seen the photos?
Son? Which son are you talking about?
The little one, Barron.
Okay,
you've got to pull it up, man. No,
right.
look up the Baron.
He's a child, and it's been 4 years.
But
he's
grow. Taller than Trump. Like he's taller than the Don.
Yeah, okay. I'll have to take a look at that.
I don't know, man. I think they pushed some Nephilim.
I don't know if I'm ready to say Baron Trump is a Nephilim, but
no. But he has gotten way taller. It actually surprised me that some of the pictures of him.
Hey, they got that White House, feed.
Nephilim juice
they're pumping into him.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to try to pull it up as we speak
here,
so the chat can take a look at it, because
oh my gosh, okay.
It lists him at 5'11", but I don't know. I think he's taller than that.
5'11", that's pretty tall. Isn't he like 9? Well, I guess he would be 13
he's
or something
now. So the most recent picture of him shows him he looks taller than Trump. There was one in particular that I saw on Twitter that was very, maybe the angle of the photo or whatever, but he's certainly getting tall and taller than the president and the first lady.
Dee in the chat makes a good point. Melania's pretty tall.
But she's also in high heels in the picture.
That's a good point.
Here's one I'll just throw in the chat, and I guess I'll maybe throw it in the website, canarycrynewstalk.com, to take a look. But yeah.
Oh wow, he is tall. He has gotten much older. Yeah, if that's him. Wow.
Yeah. Well, 4 years. It's been 4 years, Yeah.
So 4 years for
he went from
this is
13, 14 to now he's 18, something like that. So
I don't remember.
You're going to grow. Certainly you're going to grow.
Yeah, you're going to grow. Kids grow, man.
Kids grow.
You learned it here first, folks.
Kids grow.
Kids keep growing.
Yep. All right. That's it.
Are you good?
I'm good. I got to get out of here.
Okay, real quick, I want to take a second and thank some of our new Twitch followers. I'm just going to run through it here, Gonz. You ready?
I got my dinger.
We got Globe. Okay. Globe Humper.
Oh, gosh.
Got Daddy Fauci.
All right, Daddy Fauci. Made it.
Mr. Trash Wheel Basil Boat. I don't understand the reference, but I bet it's hilarious. Kefoanan. Kefoanan.
You totally blew that one.
I know. I'm sorry, Kefoanan. Mr. Laz 29. San Fran Man 1. Gotta love it. Laura Lou 777. Gamebino 4. Gamebino. And Atomic Wolf 73. Thank you guys so much for following us on Twitch. Now, here's the thing. Remember, we are a value for value show, which means we have eschewed the traditional advertising revenue stream because it just doesn't seem right. That's what's wrong with the world today, and we're trying to fight against that. So if you believe that, if you consider yourself part of the Canary Cry tribe and you want to, it takes a village to raise a podcast. And if you want to help raise this podcast, you just head over to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. That's patreon.com/CCNT. That is where you can show up, become a producer of the show, take some ownership, people, and don't just eat the pap that you're fed. That's a great way to do it. But if you're not a fan of Patreon, that's okay. We have a solution for you. You can head over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. And there you have options for PayPal. You can sign up for a subscription to PayPal. You can also, if commitment's not your thing, you can make a one-time donation through PayPal there as well. Sorry, no Venmo yet. We'll be working on that. But over on canarycryradio.com/support, you can also give some cryptocurrency, all sorts of fun ways to help out the show there. Please consider it. It's the only way we can keep the show going. Like I said, Gonza's YouTube channel has been demonetized, and he's got to make that money to keep all those babies alive. So you can directly help Gonz be a good father by helping support the show there at patreon.com/CCNT and canarycryradio.com/support. Thank you very much for that. Now stick around. We got the playlist coming after we're out here. But remember, there's other ways to support the show. If you are a creative person, if you make drawings, if you are a graphic artist, if you are a sound person, you can make jingles, all sorts of stuff. Make sure to do that and send it to us. A lot of times we will feature some artwork on our Facebook or our newsletters, and jingles and songs make it onto the show. Just remember the tips we gave you with the jingles. Keep it 4 or 5 seconds. Give it a little beat. Make sure we're not going to get those copyright restrictions. But most of all, have fun with it. If you've been watching the show for a while, you know what we like. Just go for it. But if that's not your thing, you can also help out the show in a couple other ways that are free, but yet still very helpful. You can leave a rating and a review. Remember, I got to remind you guys of this. If you miss a live show, we also have the podcast feed. The podcast feed has years and years and years of shows that you're going to want to catch up on. So go to your podcast player, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, whatever, search Canary Cry Radio and search Canary Cry News Talk. 2 different shows, but subscribe to both. You're going to want to do that. If you miss a show, it'll pop up there the next day, so you won't miss a thing. So make sure to do that and leave a rating and a review wherever you listen. That really helps to tell the robots to share the show with other people. And the easiest way is you got those people in your life who are waking up and they need a little help. They're getting their news from their Facebook stream and their mainstream media. You just go ahead, walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages.
Hey, stop that!
You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy.
Leave the bird alone!
Never! Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Grab an episode, send a link, share with your friends, tell people about the show. That's the best way to spread the word, help out the show, and help wake up those sleeping folks in your life there. Okay, Gonz, just about to wrap up. You got any last words there?
Quick shout out to Da Booth on D Live. He's always bringing the comments, and just wanted to give him a quick shout out. So thank you, Da Booth, for being in D Live. I think there's a couple people in there.
Yeah. You guys are the best. Okay. Very good, everybody. Now, remember, we will be back on Wednesday with a whole nother show and more hours and hours of fun for you. So remember, head over to twitch.canarycryradio. Sign up. Follow us there. You'll get a shout out.
Twitch.tv/canarycryradio.
Okay, twitch.tv/canarycryradio. Follow us there. We'll be back on Wednesday. Remember us for then, people. But until then, remember to think outside the cage.
I wanna shake things up, shake things up. I wanna shake things up, shake things up.
Leave the bird alone.
I wanna stir up some controversy. I wanna rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
Let me tell you a story about Mr. Bink in his basement. One night he contemplated with his guitar, found a melody to sing to, and he started questioning what's been hiding under his bed.
Mr. Government Man, what's your secret? What's your plan? What you hiding? Why you lying? Mr. Government Man, here's the situation.
What's the situation?
Got a revelation.
Jesus gonna come down from the heavens.
Something's fucking in the state of Denmark. Do you smell that smell? Alien invasions, cattle mutilation, black helicopters flying round the mountain of Mr. Government Man, what's your secret? What's your plan? What you hiding? Why you lying? Mr. Government Man. Everything we need to see right in front of you and me. What do you receive? Welcome to machine. Welcome my son. Welcome to machine. Where have you been? It's alright, we told you where you've been. Crazy people walking around with blood in their eyes, and all she wants to do is dance. Wild out pistol wavers who ain't afraid to die, and all she wants to do is dance. I'm all for dancing in the face of danger. First I gotta know where I stand. Do you know where you stand? Who is on the sunny side? Keep on the sunny side line. Hey, keep on the sunny side line.
As Mr. Bink strummed the chords on his
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I
I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on now in my people's zoo. I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you, yeah, you, yeah, you in my people's zoo.